put it in airplane mode. We never take it off. So I haven't purchased it. You don't need to.
You don't. Yeah, let's just.
Unless you want one line.
That's why you keep it on this plan. You don't want to pass it.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We're about to get started, so we want to make sure everyone is seated. We want to thank Rockdale Television for being here. Michael's up there in the cut on the right side. He's waving over there. We're also live, Facebook Live to our left. So we thank all of you guys for coming out. We're going to get this show started.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
You all look beautiful from up here. And I would like to have, thank you all for coming first. And my name is Levita, and I am the Congressman's scheduler. So I talk to a lot of you on the phone. This is me. I really am a person. And I would like for you all to stand and join me, please, as we pledge allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And now I'm going to give way to our wonderful District Director, Kathy Register.
Thank you, Levita. If you have any available seating in your area, please let us know. We have a full house. Any available seating? Okay. You have some seating there? Did I see one seat? Okay. Come on. Have some seating. Oh, yes, sir. All right, this is just such a wonderful event today, and I want to thank each and every one of you all for coming out and welcome each and every one of you to Congressman Johnson's inaugural Unsung Heroes Award Ceremony. Please give him a round of applause. As Levita said, I'm Kathy Register. I'm the District Director for Congressman Johnson, and I've been his District Director for the past 13 years. And not only is he my employer, but he is such a good friend of mine. He and his wife, Marita and I grew up together, and we are lifelong friends, and I am so thankful and appreciative to the both of them. So give her a round of applause as well. Just to let you all know, we grew up together, we went to college together, and after college we kind of parted ways, and I went to Buffalo, New York to work for General Motors, and she went to Houston to attend law school, and that's where she met her beloved. And as fate would have it, we ended up marrying two guys that lived a street apart in Decatur, Georgia. So that tells you the connection that I have to Marita and to Hank. But without further ado, I want to talk a little bit about today's event, which is to recognize some very special people who serve our communities in the 4th Congressional District in Georgia. When I say special people, I refer to those people as folks who have achieved great things, continue achieving great things, and someone who sacrifices themselves for the good of the community. It's easy to miss the invisible engines that keep the wheels turning in our organizations where we work or in the communities that we live. Therefore, I want to mention today 5 of the most common characteristics of the unsung hero who works silently but steadily among us. Unsung, the noblest deed will die. Let's start with humility, one of the endearing but elusive traits found mostly among unsung heroes today. Everybody loves humble leaders and supportive colleagues, but in today's Twitter trigger-happy age, led by the United States President, 44 no less, most of us would prefer to be the star of the day. Humility is also probably what makes modest heroes unsung to begin with. They are not likely to post their achievements on Facebook to get the most likes. Possibly because they perceive such acts as part of their job. Extraordinary efforts of ordinary heroes just go unnoticed because of their status or lack thereof. True humility is hard to find because, ironically, the moment you think that you are humble, you no longer are. Empathy is the ability to understand and share the feelings of another. It is typically associated with social behavior, and there is lots of research showing that greater empathy leads to more helping behavior. We often hear behind every good man is a good woman. Abe Lincoln, our 16th president's caretaker, helped him to develop a hunger for reading and develop a gentle side. They said feminine, but I thought gentle would be better. And become an empathetic listener. Working with his core team, who initially hated each other, he turned his political rivals into allies and earned their utmost respect for him as the commander-in-chief who listened to other people's points of views before he made a decision for the country. Unsung heroes are committed to their cause. They give more than they take. They focus on the big picture and are willing to sacrifice time and effort for the good of others, whether in the family or the organization that they work with. Teachers, volunteers. Sure, we celebrate Teachers' Day once a year around the world. After all, they are the men and women we entrust to teach our kids to become overall decent human beings. Yet, we pay them salaries that are a fraction of what pop stars and professional football players earn in a single concert or a club match. The point is, teachers do not get rewarded nor recognized nearly enough for the nurturing that they do day to day, day in, day out for the workforce and the leaders of our next generation. Courage to do the right thing. Real courage is required to follow one's conviction. Unsung heroes take action. They rise against the status quo, and they make changes for the betterment of others. They are leaders most interested in their fellow countrymen's quality of life than trying to achieve a cult personality status. Consistent excellence and teamwork. Attention to detail and teamwork are two core traits of those who contribute behind the scenes. They work towards the team's objective and deliver quality performance every day, day in, day out, whether for major projects or minor tasks. It is the little details that are vital, little things that make big things happen, said legendary coach John Wooden. So let's ask ourselves, what are we currently doing towards continual excellence as individuals? How can we help improve our team's performance as a steadfast leader or supporting player? Ultimately, the people who genuinely want to contribute to the team and help others want to do better and be better, whether they receive credit or not. In the process, they improve the lives of those around them and inspire others to achieve greater heights. So today, I wish each of you the very best congratulations. And I know from experience, people don't change. Therefore, I hope each of you will be granted many, many more years to be the individual wheels that keep us turning. Without further delay, I want to bring up our office comedian, Eric Hubbard. And he's going to speak on the occasion. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening. Well, I am not here to entertain you all tonight. You would have to see my agent, Josh Smith, get the show at Uptown. But in all seriousness, I am here on behalf of Congressman Hank Johnson to give the occasion of why we are here and why the Congressman has decided to initiate this program to recognize his unsung heroes throughout the 4th District of Georgia. But before I get started on that, I do want to recognize some of our elected officials who are here, who are not on program, such as Commissioner Marita Davis Johnson from DeKalb County. I see our Stonecrest Mayor, Mayor Jason Lowry. Our Sheriff of Newton County, Sheriff Ezell Brown. And I see our school board member and chair, who's also a member of the council board for the Black Box Theater, Ms. Katrina Young. She's to my left. Okay. And any other elected officials I may have missed, if you could show me your hand and I can give them your name. No? Okay, because you do know we do have our clerks of superior courts of all courts of our district. They're here. So that's why I did not recognize them, because they are being recognized. So we want to thank you and thank everyone for being here. Congressman Johnson and I had a conversation many, many years ago. And it wasn't when I was doing his litigation support at his office or when I was working for him as a commissioner. We go back many, many years to Kathy, since she was talking about their relationship. So I had to just throw that out. But the congressman wanted to recognize those individuals and those organizations that help move the forth forward. Yes, he is our spokesperson in Washington, D.C. in the House of Representatives. But every day, we have spokespersons here in the district, be it in DeKalb County, Newton County, Rockdale County, and Gwinnett County, that make a difference in the lives of others. They make sure that children are receiving scholarships. They make sure that veterans have a voice. They make sure that our seniors are taken care of. And those who are downtrodden, be it homelessness, substance abuse, these unsung heroes are there. They're there to make a difference with their blood, sweat, and tears. Not for fame, not for fortune. And those elected officials who are recipients of our pillars of power, those elected officials make a difference. They're not the CEO of the county. They're not the congressman or senator. But their roles are very vital in the Superior Court, because if it's not you, we know someone in our family who uses the support of the court system. And they need to be navigated through that. Not through with the attorneys or the judges, but sometimes they need someone who can help them out with their filings and let them know that you're not alone and we're here to serve. The congressman wanted to do a program that reached across all lines. Didn't matter if you're Republican, Democrat, black or white, Jewish, Gentile, it doesn't matter, male, female. He wanted to recognize you who make the fourth work. And when the fourth works, we all work, because this is our village. The congressman did not want to just hand out a standard trophy. He wanted you all to know that you represent the fourth. And he had and these beautiful awards that he had designed are the 4th Congressional District. It encompasses all 4 counties. They're very special. And the congressman wanted you all to know how special you are, and what he does is not alone. Because you are the ones who service the constituents. You are the ones that speak to the community. You're at the events. You are that fourth wheel for the 4th district. And that's why we are here tonight to recognize you all. On behalf of Congressman Johnson, thank you. And at this time, I would like to bring up Mr. Gilstrap. He's going to give us a selection as we begin our program. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. While he's getting the music together, I also want to recognize the two board members of the Black Box Theater that are here. I did mention Ms. Katrina Young and also Mr. James Cade. If you all could wave your hands so everyone can see. They are hosting us here tonight. Thank you for your service.
Hello again. My name is Zeron Pledger. I'm actually the Director of External Affairs for Congressman Johnson. I don't think I said my name when I came up the first time. But while we're waiting on Mr. Gilstrap, and we're competing on who knew the congressman for the longest. I met Congressman Johnson and Ms. Johnson in the early 90s. Knocked on their law office door. So when I was looking for an internship because I was contemplating law school, they gave me a job as an intern. So I don't know if that beats you, but I just had to throw that little piece in, all right? And what I want to do, I actually prepared a poem. I was so inspired by so many of you guys when you came in. You took pictures. You were so gracious when you came in. You gave us hugs. And you complimented the congressman and the work that he does, his team. And when you guys left, I said, well, my contribution to these individuals, I just want to prepare a poem. So while we're waiting on Mr. Gilstrap with his music, because Miss Kathy may have to sing because I'm not sure what's going to come up. I want to read this to you real quick. When heroes are unsung, does that lessen the heroism? Or does it simply show the selflessness that shines so vividly through their prism? We criticize, we begrudge, we condemn, and let's be real, we hate. Until our heroes fall, then we tend to judge their fate. Today we lift our heroes high so they shine like a star. Because what heroes do today will influence those near as well as far. Without a hero, there may not be a me, a you, or a me. Without a hero, many lives would end in tragedy. So let us sing, or sang, as Big Mama used to say, for our heroes on this beautiful January Sunday. So I'm not sure. Mr. Gilstrap, just come on up here and just blow that horn, man. Just blow a little something for us. Just play a little something. We're going to move forward into honoring our honorees here.
We all know how technology does.
Yes.
Time when we try to get something done, I'm an educator as well, so it happens. So the song that I had prepared was Change Gonna Come, so I'll blow a few verses of that.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's give another round of applause to Mr. Galen Kiltrap, one of Rockdale County's very own. And now we are at the point of honoring those who are serving. We're going to first begin with the champion of the 4th District Awards. Our first honoree is not a stranger to Rockdale County, Mr. Tommy Clack. Unfortunately, Mr. Clack is unable to be with us today. He's in Dallas, Texas with his son. But Mr. Clack has served in the Vietnam War. After returning back to Georgia, he decided that he wanted to make a difference in the lives of soldiers. Mr. Clack has served in the VA administration, and he continues to serve as an advocate for veterans. He is also one of the founders of the Veterans Memorial Park here in Rockdale County. He has been known throughout the county and throughout the district as being the star advocate for those veterans who have served. For those veterans feel that they don't have a voice, they have a giant of a man in Mr. Tommy Clack. So we want to recognize him at this time, even though he's not here. Mr. Tommy Clack of Rockdale County. Our next honoree is Mr. Hank Stewart. Mr. Hank Stewart is originally from Jacksonville, Florida. He is the executive director and founder of the Hank Stewart Foundation, in which the Stewart Foundation makes certain that scholarships are given out to students all across the district. Mr. Stewart is also a volunteer with our youth in the juvenile justice system. Mr. Hank Stewart is also the poet laureate of the 4th Congressional District, and he is an Emmy award-winning poet. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Hank Stewart gives of himself tirelessly. Through his blood, sweat, and tears, our children are able to see the fruit of his labor. Mr. Hank Stewart.
This is awesome. Thank you, Congressman, for this award. Maya Angelou once said that, Commissioner, she said that nobody can make it out here alone. All alone, nobody can make it out here alone. So I just want to shout out. There's a whole lot of folk in here from the Stewart Foundation. Would you please just, because their names should be on this. They do the work. They work hard. They make me look good. And so I'm honored to receive this award. It would not be if it was not for them. So could you please give them a round of applause? And for my 30-minute recital that I'm getting ready to do for you right now. No, I'm just kidding. But I also just want to thank the Congressman, because we've been friends, and since we all going to talk about how long we've known each other. But we've been friends for a while. Congressman, when he was an attorney, and before he became a county commissioner, I used to work with Reverend Jesse Jackson, and he was our attorney, doing a lot of work for us, and he was giving back then, and he's still giving. So thank you for thinking it not robbery to call our name the Stewart Foundation. Thank you.
Our next honoree is Mrs. Janelle Green. Mrs. Green has been a community advocate for many years. She is one of the founders of the Million Women's March. She is a strong advocate of voters' rights and civil rights here in our district. Mrs. Green believes that one person can make a difference, but that one person making the difference has to be the difference maker and the change maker, him or herself. Ms. Janelle Green.
Thank you so much. I'm really here through the support of the community and everyone that works together. I think that that's really the important thing here is the way that the Congressman brings people together. That's so much a part of the work that I do. I couldn't do what I do without so many of you. When we were first planning that first Women's March, people were afraid. They didn't know if that was a politically safe thing to do. This was a protest. Was this going to be a dangerous thing? But when I asked Congressman Johnson if he would be a part of it, he immediately said yes. He didn't hesitate. He wanted to be there, and he wanted to be a part of it. And it's always been that way. When we had an issue at the state capitol, it was Deborah DeBerry who was willing to put her neck out there and help us to be able to get things taken care of the way that they needed to. And knowing that I have a congressman and a community that I can count on and that we can work to come together to solve the problems in our community is an amazing feeling. Thank you so much.
Our next champion of the fourth awardees is Attorney Antonio Molina. Attorney Molina has been, yes, we can give him a clap. Attorney Molina has been very active, not only as an attorney here in the district, he's also a U.S. Navy veteran. He's also served as a Georgia legislative aide to State Representative Pedro Moran, and also he is the president of the Georgia Latino Chamber of Commerce. He's very active in the community and in the district, making sure that voters are registered to vote, also making sure that businesses are attracted to the 4th District. He goes out on his own to make sure that our 4th is being built up properly, but most importantly, he works with our youth. And he makes sure that every youth knows that you can and you will succeed in life as long as you put your best foot forward. Attorney Molina.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
It truly is an honor to be here. Being part of the 4th is a great thing, and it's a great thing because we have people like Congressman Johnson who always takes up the call. You know, one of the beautiful things about the congressman is that regardless of the situation, and it's already been said and it's going to be said a lot more than the rest of the afternoon, I'm sure, but you're always there to take the call, to take the hard vote, to take the hard question, to make sure that all of our interests are represented. And I thank you so much for the work that you do, that your staff does, making sure that we have someone that's willing to represent us, to fight for us, especially in these trying times. So I'll continue to pray for you, Congressman, and we hope that we continue to do great things here in the 4th. Thank you.
Next, ladies and gentlemen, are our Pillar of Powers awardees. These are our unsung heroes who are elected officials, but they are very active in the district, active in the community. Our first recipient is Mrs. Ruth Wilson, Rockdale County Clerk of Superior Court. Mrs. Wilson is the Clerk of Superior Court for Rockdale County. She's also a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. She's a member of the, yes, members of the NAACP. She's also working very hard in which the Education Initiative in Rockdale County, and also a member of the Chamber and also the Rotary Club. Mrs. Wilson has been known to not only lend her voice, but also her pen, and making sure that the rights of citizens of Rockdale County are noted and protected. Mrs. Wilson.
Thank you so much. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Thank you so much, my Congressman Hank Johnson, for this wonderful recognition and honor to represent Rockdale County Rockdale County Judicial Circuit. We meet the standards required by law in our office, but in addition to that, we do more. We said long ago we would bring the courthouse into the community and the community into the courthouse. So we're very proud of what we do. Wonderful that I have some of my team here with me. Chief Jamie Cabe, if you would please wave. Chief Cabe, Chief Deputy Clerk, and in the back you can't see them, but two of the others who are the wings beneath my wings are Ginger Gray and Orlando Tucker. We have wonderful, committed employees in our office who make the customer first, make the taxpayer first, but we're also very sensitive to the needs of our community. We want to hear from you. Let us know how we can help. Thank you so much.
Next is our clerk of Superior Court for Gwinnett County, Mr. Richard Alexander. Mr. Alexander is not here today because of a prior engagement, but I believe there is someone here from Gwinnett County that is representing him, who's accepting the award on his behalf. No? Well, if not, then we will accept this award on behalf of Clerk Alexander. Clerk Alexander is the clerk of Gwinnett County. He's also an Air Force veteran. Also, what Mr. Alexander does is to work very hard with initiative in Gwinnett County as he deals with the Rotary Club and also with those of Kwanzaa. Mr. Alexander is no stranger to getting out, making sure that the rights and the person's people know about making wills, the importance of wills and the trust. He's a strong advocate of that. He does a lot of pro bono work on his time to make sure that the citizens of Gwinnett County are do have knowledge of wills and trusts, something that we should all make sure that we have before we leave this earth if we want to make sure our affairs are in order. So, Mr. Alexander, we would like to give this applause to you. Mr. Richard Alexander. Next is our Clerk of Superior Court for Newton County, Mrs. Linda Hayes. Mrs. Linda Hayes is the clerk of Newton County. She is very active in giving awareness to the citizens of Newton County, and also as it relates to the Rotary Club, and also with those persons in the film district in Newton County. Newton County has become the hottest district in the states as we have films and production. Mrs. Hayes is no stranger to working with the community, and she's always given a helping hand, educating people on what the services of Newton County are and what it is that she can do. And she's also served as one of the hostess when we had our U.S. Supreme Court Judge Clarence Thomas was here last year, and Mrs. Hayes was one of the hostess of Newton County as we brought the Supreme Court bench here to our district. Mrs. Linda Hayes.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Thank you so much, Congressman. This is certainly an honor, and I really appreciate you, your office staff. I've never called on the Congressman for any citizen in my county that needed help. The year your office staff weren't there to help them. We really appreciate that. I appreciate all the support from my support system. There's a saying that the top banana cannot be supported unless they have the rest of the bunch. And I certainly have a good bunch of people that support me. I appreciate my family being here today, and I certainly appreciate our constitutional officers, elected officials, and I have my sheriff here today. Sheriff Ezell Brown, would you stand, please? Thank you. Sheriff Brown and I have started working tirelessly to try to get our law-abiding citizens' records corrected. Every day I have someone come by, or the sheriff has someone come by, that has maybe a little something on a record from years ago. And I know you do this in Rockdale County, and I admire you for doing this, because our citizens certainly deserve to have their records corrected. Maybe holding them back from getting a better job or promotion. The sheriff and I have worked tirelessly to try to get that in our county. So we do appreciate that. We have a new slogan in our county, and that is One Newton. And that is what we're all striving for, to be one, as in one Newton, and work together. So thank you so much again. Certainly appreciate that.
Our next honoree is our Clerk of Superior Court for DeKalb County, Mrs. Deborah D. Berry. Mrs. D. Berry is a native of New York, but she has been the Clerk of Superior Court in DeKalb County. But before she was the Clerk of Superior Court in DeKalb County, she's been very active in many organizations. As the Clerk of Superior Court, she's active with the NAACP, with the Rotary Club, also with New Power Pack, and as well as with the DeKalb County Community Breakfast that was started many years ago. Ms. DeBerry is a friend of those in DeKalb County who makes sure that not only our citizens are served, but also she helps with returning citizens that are coming back into our district to make sure that they are aware of their rights and also expungements that are available. And she's also very active with our youth. She has a yearly event at the Brownsville Park, Water Park, in which she allows the youth to come in, enjoy fun with the water and fellowship, and to just see the judicial system up front on a friendly hand level. Ms. Deborah D. Barrett.
Thank you. Thank you, Congressman Johnson. This is especially warming for me because you are a lifelong, committed public servant, and you set the bar and you set the example. So this is an especially important and treasured award for me, so thank you. And thank my amazing staff, one of whom my PIO, Donica Kennan, who is here, but without them, I would not be able to do what I do. And we believe in public service. That is what being a public servant means, is being part of our communities and giving our communities a voice and a forum and a platform when normally they would not have one. And I'm especially excited to be nominated or selected amongst people like Janelle and Hank, Stewart, and my other colleagues, my fellow clerks. This is especially special to me, so thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to move into another category, but before I go, Mr. Joshua Smith over here, just want to let you know that if you need your photos, he'll make them readily available to you, so you can call our office. I have a stack of his cards here. So if you want to email him and get your photos, we'll make sure that you guys get those. Our next category is the Beacon of Light. These are professionals and educators who shine brightly through their efforts with youth in our community, primarily. The first one that we have is Mrs. Carolyn Collins. Now, you may have seen Ms. Collins on Channel 11. Ms. Collins was acknowledged for the work that she does with the youth. Ms. Collins has a what she calls her closet there, where she gets all of these things donated. And she told us about the story of so many kids that are there that if it was not for her, they wouldn't have food, they wouldn't have clothes, they wouldn't have shoes. So we must commend her for what she's doing over at Tucker High School, Ms. Carolyn Collins. Ms. Collins doesn't like to talk, so I told her I was going to stand up here with her, and she doesn't like to do when I talk.
Thank you so much. I want to thank Congressman for this beautiful award. Thank you so much. And my family, too, for always having my back. Thank you so much.
Our next honoree, we do a congressional art competition every year. And if it was not for this young lady that we're about to bring up, we probably wouldn't have any art in DeKalb County. I mean, we can call, I can say your name, we can call her and say, look, these kids are just not sending the information over. We really need you to get some artwork. She said, just come and pick some out. But we might go over there and get 10 to 15 pieces. That's just how she pours herself into these youth. So I want to bring to you Miss Sheila Bussey from She's been telling us for the last 5 years she's gonna retire, and we say you can't do it, so we make her stay. She tell me, Eric, you better bring me my easels back.
Good afternoon.
like to thank Congressman Johnson and his staff, my friends, Eric, Zara, Miss Pleasure, and Miss, I can't remember, Miss Register, I'm sorry, for just, taking me kind of under their wings. When it's time for art, they always call, and they know I always deliver. And, this is year 40 for me, but I don't know how many years my students have won the award. That it's more than 10 we've participated in the congressional art. So if I have students in the audience, if you would stand, I know some of them. Thank you.
Our next Beacon of Light honoree, we also have a congressional app challenge that the Congressman does every year. And similar to Ms. Bussey, and we have another honoree as well that helps us. But with this app challenge, in Rockdale County, they've won, I think, Josh, the first 3 years? I think they won that. We've only been doing it for 4 years, so they won the first 4 years. So that lets you know how she's engaged with these young people. And when you go over, we took the congressman over, and you can see the things that they're creating from apps to games. You would just be thoroughly impressed. I bring to you Miss Demetria Williams from Rockdale Magnet.
Good afternoon. I'll be speaking on behalf of Ms. Williams because she has lost her voice. I don't have a speech prepared, no pun intended. All that I do is for my students who become my children. I am happy that I'm able to touch lives positively and encourage all, that they are more than capable of achieving their goals. I say thank you, and I am greatly appreciative for this award.
Miss Demetria, I thought you were just being rude to me when you came in. I didn't realize you lost your voice. When I spoke, she just looked at me. All right, last but not least in this category, again, a lot of times it's about building relationships. And this young lady that we're about to call up, she's actually helped us build a great relationship with the schools in Gwinnett County. Again, as I talked about how engaged they are and how they pour themselves into these young people, I think she won about 4 years ago, and the young man was having some issues, and I remember her just working through it and saying, whatever we need to do to get this young man to DC. I think we were having a language barrier, and there were some other things that were going on. And the young man ended up going to school over at the Art Institute of Atlanta, if I'm not mistaken. So I want to bring forward Miss Maria Cruz.
Talk in front of adults, just children. Thank you so much for honoring really everybody here and educators especially. And I've known the congressman for 9 years. And it was when one of my students received first place, and he actually chose me to go with him to DC. And I just remember sitting in your office in DC and you spending 30, 40 minutes talking to us about everything that you do and just how much work you pour into our citizens. And we just thank you so much, and thank you so much for investing in my students and all the other students that I know do the competition. And I know that it means a lot to them, and thank you so much for recognizing educators, because I know sometimes we do go unnoticed, so thank you.
Please, one last round of applause for our educators and those who work. Okay, next we have our community cornerstone. And these are actually professionals who have served in the district for 5 years and have made a major impact based on the things that they're doing. This first individual that we're going to bring up is also, I guess, a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority. Lord Jesus. She is currently serving as the president of the Rockdale Newton section of the National Council of Negro Women and Georgia State Chairman of For the Fourth Future, the Newton County branch of the NAACP and State Political Action Committee. She's done so many things. I'm not going to go through this. I know she also is with Child and Family Development Consultant and CEO of Developing Human Resources Consultants. Miss Debbie Hillman. And that's a bad dress you got on, my sister.
Thank you, Congressman Johnson. Not only for this award, but for all the times that you say yes. All the times that we come to you and say, will you, can you, and you say, by all means, just tell me what you need. 112 years ago, on Wednesday, January 15th, there was a small group of women at Howard University who said, we will provide service to all mankind. That was my sorors, our founders of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. And it has been my life's goal, my life's mission, to carry out their ideals, their ideas, their vision. And so that is why I adhere to the slogan that the rent that we owe, the rent that we pay for living here, breathing this air, is to provide service. Thank you for the opportunity to serve.
Our next community cornerstone, this gentleman has served in the black community of South DeKalb County for over 20 years. He serves as a volunteer chaplain in DeKalb County Jail and the DeKalb Juvenile Detention Center, where he ministers to the inmates weekly, volunteers his time. He has volunteered and served on the school council at Rainbow Elementary, Chapel Hill Middle School, Columbia High School, and Southwest DeKalb. I bring to you Mr. Wendell Muhammad.
Thank you. Well, the work that I don't do it to be seen or recognized by men. I follow the principle in the Bible when it says, to whom much is given, much is required and expected. And also me knowing that this is the time of the judgment of the Son of Man. He said we're going to be judged by what we do by to the least of these. So I didn't feel as though, when I got the call, I didn't quite understand because I do this. Because this is what we want to serve. But as we're coming up on the celebration of recognition of Dr. King's holiday time. I remember as a little boy, around about 6 or 7, between 6 and 10, watching on TV, our people being water hosed, being sicked on by dogs. And I knew as a little child that I was going to grow up and do something to help relieve the suffering of black people. So in 1981, I met a man who gave guidance and direction for my love for black people. That was under the Minnesota's Holocaust. So I thank you, Congressman Johnson, because we're living at a time in historical where a man became what you call black leader persona non grata, we run from and we don't recognize. So I admire and I appreciate your strength as a congressman fighting for us in the halls of justice. Thank you.
I think if someone's standing up, there are 2 seats here on the second row over to my right. Does anyone else have a vacant seat next to them anywhere? No? Well, we do have 2 seats over to the right if you guys want to. Well, if you want people to recognize if your feet are screaming at you. Come on, don't be shy. Come on. Oh, absolutely. And we have 1 other seat as well. There you go. There we go. Okay, the next honoree, if you have seen Stacey Abrams, you probably have seen this lady. After retiring in March 2017, she hosted a Welcome Back Stacey event for gubernatorial candidate Stacey Abrams. There's a lot of work that she's done to support the candidates in Avondale as well as statewide. She came to Atlanta in 1969. She was part of the first union for the Atlanta Federation of Teachers, Local 1565. So there were 75 members when she was elected president in 1976. So that lets you know the work that she's been doing continuously. I bring forward Miss Mary Lou Romaine. She threw that Romaine in there on us. We were kind of thrown off.
Hi, everyone. So they started kind of far back. More recently, I have represented as political director United Food and Commercial Workers Union, right? And there are a few union members in the house. How many of you saw our congressman or heard about his testimony on the Judiciary Committee? Yes? Yes. Well, I'm very honored. In a year when you have represented us, you've represented us well from the beginning, Congressman, but in a year when it is so critical for our democracy and our nation, Congressman Johnson, I have to recognize Marita too, because what families do you know that have not 1, but 2 elected leaders in public service? That's a lot. So very quickly, I'm going to do this, because my president is here, Steve Lomax, he's in the back. We also have the Secretary-Treasurer of the AFL-CIO of Georgia, Ms. Yvonne Robinson. And just like they didn't do my married name, Yvonne Brooks. And I am Waymer. And the President Emeritus of the Georgia AFL-CIO, Mr. Richard Ray, and they usually say his lovely wife, his talented, skillful, productive member of Henry County Democratic Party, Marion. So Richard Ray and Marion are here. And how many union members are here? Wave your hands at me. Because the reason that's important is that we support Hank Johnson and we support Marita Johnson because of what they do in our community. I also have many members of my church family here. I couldn't do what I do without all of these people. If you're from Central Presbyterian, I'm going to say 1, 2, 3, and you say Central Presbyterian. 1, 2, 3. Central Presbyterian. Our new minister, Reverend Jessica Paget, was here earlier. She had to leave. And one of the first visits she did, God bless her, was to Ebenezer Church, to Dr. Warnock, and I really respect her for that. And I can't go on, Hank, without Dr. Waymer. You talk about unsung. In Louisiana, we say talk about. Talk about. If you served on a school board for 10 years. That wasn't me. If you served on a school board for 10 years in Atlanta Public Schools and brought teachers to 10% raises in technology, that's an unsung hero, my husband, Dr. So thank you very much, Hank. Appreciate you, and we'll continue to work so you remain the congressman in the 4th District.
Josh's car is a deadly weapon. I thought Kim Jong-un was throwing something at us up here. Done, Congressman. All right, our last community cornerstone. This gentleman organized the Church of New Beginnings in Conyers, Georgia, where he currently serves as the founder and senior pastor. In July of 2008, he was ordained by the Fellowship of Vineyard Harvesters Churches. He's also invested in the Rockdale County community. He has served in a variety of volunteer capacities, including the member of the Board of Directors of Rockdale Hospital. We bring to you Pastor Aldrin Sadler.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. This looks like a church. I've got a podium, but I don't have the time to do what I do. First of all, I just want to thank Congressman Hank Johnson for this award. When Eric told me about it, I didn't understand why they were going to honor me, because I just do what I do. And I want to just thank a lot of people, I can't call them all by name, that allows me to do what I do. And one in particular is my wife, Gloria Jean. When we first got married, I had a choice of 2 places that I could live. I could either live in Roanoke, Alabama, or I could live right here in Conyers. So I chose to live in Conyers, where I grew up. I'm a lifelong resident of Rockdale County. So I'm just so honored to receive this award. Thinking back, I graduated from high school about 52 years ago, right here in this city during segregation. And to think about what I see in here tonight is just awesome. It brings tears to my eyes, because my grandfather owned a shoe shop right down the street. And 90% of our customers were white. And to think about now where we are, it's just a blessing. And Congressman Johnson, keep doing what you're doing. And I think anytime I text him, he always responds to me back. Thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, the next in our final category are our Diamonds of the District Awards. These unsung heroes are directors of organizations that make a difference, or they are owners of a business that makes a difference in the 4th Congressional District. The first honoree will be Miss Ann Mills of Overcomers House Incorporated out of Gwinnett County. Overcomers House, ladies and gentlemen, serves food to residents of Gwinnett County, DeKalb, Newton, and Rockdale County. Ms. Mills has opened up her doors to make sure that not only during the holiday seasons for Thanksgiving and Christmas, but throughout the year, that her partnership with the United States Department of Agriculture provides food. They also provide clothing, services to make sure that the least of these know that you are cared for and thought about. Ms. Ann Mills of Overcomers House.
Greetings, everyone. This is indeed an honor, and it's not one I would say for me. And our organization, we're just a small nonprofit, and we are doing some great works in our area. And it's because of Congressman Johnson and Eric. I can always call both of them, and they are always available. So on behalf of Overcomers House, we say thank you.
Our next honoree is Ms. Mira Cardenas, who's the Executive Director of Arabian Mountain Heritage Area Alliance. Unfortunately, she is not here tonight because she is no longer with us in that capacity. She's in Ohio, in Lake Erie area, and she's given them what she's given to us here in the district. But she does have someone here representing her today, and I want to tell you a few things about Ms. Mira Cardenas. Arabian Mountain Heritage Alliance is the foundation that represents the Arabian Mountain. If you live in DeKalb County, Rockdale County, Gwinnett, Henry, or Newton, you know the difference that Arabian Mountain has made in the lives of others. Arabian Mountain is on the National Register as a historic landmark and mountain. They make a difference in the lives of many by providing that tourism, but also the education of our environment. They are a very strong supporter in our environmental policy. We want to recognize Ms. Mira Cardenas for her many, many years of service and making the 4th District great. Thank you. And we have our new director here who's accepting on her behalf, Ms. Rhonda. So let's give her a hand.
Thank you. On behalf of Mira and the Arabian Mountain Heritage Area Alliance, I want to say thank you. But I first want to thank our congressman, and I can't hold on to all the years that you had. But when I first made Georgia home more than 15 years ago, after getting an opportunity to lobby in D.C., the first person that I was directed to see to support on health issues and initiatives in this country was Hank Johnson. And I remember making my way to a university where I didn't know where I was going, and the aide that had given me directions said he'll be handsome and he'll have this amazing gray hair. You'll find him. And so I remember looking around, and there were a lot of people that fit that description, but there was a lady that they told me about that was his wife. And so today I want to thank both of you for your years of service and what you do. And on behalf of Mira Cardenas, I want to say thank you on her behalf. Mira met all of the qualities that Ms. Register spoke of earlier, both in humility and in service, and she gave tirelessly. And without her and you, sir, we would not have a heritage area. So as your new executive director, I look forward to introducing you to the heritage area that is just a stone's throw away from where you sit. Greatness is all around us. And from my vantage point, and to you, sir, we get to see 400 million years as a result of your efforts. Thank you so much.
Our next awardee is a man who has been doing great things for many years. For over 25 years, Mr. Charles Sperling has led the effort to make sure that those returning citizens have a place to come for comfort and for help. Mr. Charles Sperling is the Executive Director of STAND, Inc., and STAND, Inc., which is located in DeKalb County, has been giving out aid to those persons who have issues with HIV and AIDS, drug substance abuse, also registering people the right to be reinstated to vote and make a difference in helping returning citizens find housing throughout the 4th District. Mr. Sperling has been recognized from Washington, D.C., all the way down to Georgia for his efforts. Mr. Charles Sperling of Stand Incorporated.
I want to begin, like most others have stepped to this podium before me. I want to thank you, Congressman Johnson. We don't quit because you don't quit. We've been at this for 20 years, and for that whole term, we've been looking at D.C. for you. So we appreciate your presence, we appreciate your leadership, and we thank you because you got your finger on the pulse of what's going on in our community. Thank you for allowing me to serve in the 4th. I want to recognize Eric. Some of the people that came up before, Eric came and gave me a phone call, and I said, Eric, why me? Because I'm in the middle of the work. That's what I do. I don't have time to stop and think about awards and that kind of thing because it's the next issue. It's the next thing I need to deal with. And he stepped up. He said, you know, people like yourself need to be recognized. And I'm thankful. I'm thankful for the opportunity to stand here and accept this award and to be thought of in this way by my peers in the community I serve. Thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, our next awardees are Mr. Glenn and Ms. Valerie Morgan of Oncoming Ground News. Oncoming Ground News has been the pulse of the 4th Congressional District. The Morgans started Oncoming Ground News in the early 90s with the desire to make sure that persons in the community know what's going on, when it's going on, and who is doing what, and how it affects us. Oncoming Ground News is the legal organ for the city of Stonecrest, but most importantly, Oncoming Ground News is an everyday partner in our district. Be it your children's birthday, or be it what's going on at the Capitol or in Congress, they're there to cover the stories. They bring good news into the community, and also they make sure that you know what is going on, when it's going on, and why. Ladies and gentlemen, Oncoming Ground News.
I gotta tell a real quick, just so people just accustomed to doing things, right? They're a newspaper, they do a great job, they're always informing the community. Mr. Joshua Smith and Mr. Anthony Phelan over here, our communications, we sent Ms. Valerie some information about them winning the awards. We said, don't send it out. The next day it was blasted all over the internet. That's why y'all don't have anywhere to sit.
I want to thank you, Congressman. Now, I had a speech that had 1,000 words. I want to keep it all here, but they told me to keep it quick. So I just want to say thank you. It has truly been an honor to work with you. I mean, over the years, let me see, it's been at least 15 years, you know, so we got 15 years in with you. And so it's been truly an honor, because as everyone has already said, you know, no matter when you call or what you ask, you're always there. And that, you know, we could not take lightly, because you're a giver. And that's just want to say thank you. So now stop being
So thank you, Congressman. I would like to thank my mother, who's 81. She's here, Juliet Hill. My brother, Richard, is here. I would like to thank my friends, Kenley Waller, who has Kenley's Catering. He's here. Our friend, Al Jones is here. He's our best friend. And I'd also like to thank Mayor Jason Larry for coming out today to support us. We really appreciate that. I just want to say that in the business that we're in, our job is to tell stories. And it is so important for us to, a lot of you we have reported on, so important for us to record our history. And so as storytellers, this week we had the opportunity to cover 3 historic swearing in. The mayor of Lithonia, the new mayor of Lithonia, Shamika Reynolds, was sworn in. We attended her swearing in ceremony. We attended Stonecrest Mayor Jason Larry, who is the visionary of the city of Stonecrest and was sworn into a 2nd term. and we attended the swearing in for Connie Alsobrook and Valencia Smith. Connie, you know, I have a problem with my vision, all these lights. I don't see anybody at this point. But it was, some people have asked, well, why, you know, was it necessary to talk about those two women, Connie Alsobrook and Valencia Smith, for being the first blacks that are on the city council. But this is our history, and it's the way that we tell a story. We never want to forget our history. We want that our children, all of our children, black, white, red, yellow, we want them all to know what our history is, and we will continue to tell our stories in that way. We will continue to share our news. We will also continue, because this is an election year, to hold each one of you who have moved into a seat to represent us accountable. We will continue to do that as well. And so we just want to say, Congressman, thank you so much for this honor. It is especially meaningful to us. This is our 25th anniversary in business. When we started out, we had no idea how long we would be in business, and I think that for a small business, God has looked over us and helped us continue to. We appreciate your support and your prayers, and we just want to thank you for being great constituents as well. Thank you.
Let's give them another round of applause, ladies. Our final awardee for this evening for the Diamond Awards is Helping Hands Free Clinic of Rockdale County, Mr. Talbert and Mrs. Janet Morris. Helping Hands Clinic is actually a helping hand in the fort. They see those patients who don't have insurance, those patients who've been turned away. They provide medical services. They provide dental services. And in our district, we only had 2 free clinics, in which only 1 remains. And so we want to recognize them for the work that they give tirelessly of themselves to make sure that citizens in the fort receive health care at no cost, and to make sure that everyone knows that your life is important and is valued. The Morrises of Helping Hands Clinic.
Ooh, thank you all so much. Praise God for being the voice for me. I thank God for everything that has been a blessing through our lives. But a lot of times, I just want to say one moment, I always do the most talking, the most outbursts, being out seen, but the mustard seed is my husband. Mr. Morris, this award is for you. Yeah, I'll get your check tomorrow. It's going to be okay. But I want to thank you all, Congressman, Mr. Johnson, Mrs. Johnson, the staff for putting up with us all these years. It's been 20 years Helping Hands been in existing. We have seen over 23,000 people of Rockdale, DeKalb, and Newton County. But, Mr. Morris, thank you. Thank you for allowing us to be who we are. You're behind the scene making sure policies and implementations of health, privacy, HIPAA, everything is regulated. I want you to know, thank you for regulating me to be the right I also we would not be here without one other special couple of people here that represent Helping Hands. It's Dr. Alvin Griffin in the house. Anybody see Dr. Griffin?
Yes.
Dr. Griffin, thank you for being our medical director. Thank you when we didn't have anywhere else to go. One other person I want to recognize, I call her my twin, my birthday twin, my posse, Miss Saller. Please stand up, because when Helping Hands started 20 years ago, you were right there at the door with us. And thanking each and every one of you all to making sure that we are part of our community. Mr. Morris.
She must have another husband, because she couldn't be speaking. I'll find out who that guy is. But anyway, I want to say this. Okay, when Helping Hand was started, we were told that it would possibly be impossible for us to do such a thing because we were not in the medical field. Okay, one of the things that I decided to do, and I will say this, and I want to thank Hank Johnson because he was one of the first person that I called for advice. Right? We started a childhood obesity program with the Rockdale Career Academy. On that day, that the first test that we had among the children in Rockdale County, we found quite a few people, there were people 5 and 6 year old that were diabetic. Right? Congressman Johnson showed up that day. And because he was there, a lot of people that came would not have come. So it helped us consider. Every program that we've had, I've always had Erie to advise me. He's constantly advised me. We are starting now a program for homeless veterans. We're going to build homes for homeless veterans. And we're going to have a training program. The first person I thought of to ask for advice and assistance was Congressman Johnson in Erie. And they came to my aid. And I want to say we could not do this without them. We would not be in existence had they not come to our aid. And we want to thank you very much for all that you guys have done for us. And we're going to make you proud by continuing to serve our community. Thank you. Thank you.
Join me to my head and my heart. My granddaughter is sitting right there so graciously videoing her grandma. Rockdale Memorial Middle School in the house. Thank you.
Thank you all. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a round of applause for all our awardees. This time we're going to get ready to bring up the man of the hour. And also we want to thank Mr. Morris for his service. He's a veteran, and also he served on the Rockdale School Board here in Rockdale County. At this time we want to bring up the man of the hour who's given up so much of himself to make things happen for all of us. My congressman, my brother, my friend, Congressman Hank Johnson.
Good afternoon, everyone. I want to first start by asking my staff to come onto the stage and let you know that, I've received a lot of accolades today, people thanking me for this, that, and the other, but I would be unable to do anything that I do without these capable people around me, making sure that we serve you. And so would you give the staff of the Josh is still agree. And then, yeah, right. And then I would certainly be remiss. Hold on one second. Oh, you can go ahead and do it. Oh, okay. And we have a former intern here, Jordan. Jordan, come down and join us also. Oh, he's working. Okay, we appreciate you. And we. All right, so you see, they tell me. Hold on one second, y'all.
Yay, Candace! All right, hold that. One more time.
Now these folks tell me what to do when I'm at the office. And when I'm not at the office, I'm home. And home is where Marita Davis Johnson is. My dear lovely wife, come on up, Marita. We just celebrated our 40th year anniversary on December 29th. And so I would certainly not be able to do what I do without her support and without her strong guidance. So we'll take a picture. And you go in. Can y'all tell me the significance of these right here? Hold on one second. Significance of decorations. Is there any symbolism about it?
The royalty of the purple and the seats for those we were honoring. So when we envision what we're going to do on the stage, we have to get the purple bases to compliment that. This has no significance.
But it does. What this is you know how you can prune a tree in the wintertime and then it'll come back fuller in the summertime? So, this is an award to my wife. Well, it's nice to have a good laugh every once in a while. And my wife is going to be happy when we do it. But, okay, so let's get serious. You know, the world today is in a very difficult situation. It seems like everything has been going haywire and chaos and confusion, and it seems like wrong has been winning over right. It seems like lies have been winning over truth. And it seems like it's just going to go on and on and on. And so it is really in times like this where we kind of come together as a community and share a good laugh or two and recognize the efforts of the unsung heroes of the community that give us a little sense of joy about where we are and about where we can be and about where we're going. So I appreciate you all for being here today, for us to be able to share a little light time amongst ourselves, because each one of you all is involved in some deep stuff that you're doing. And it's not all fun and games. It's a lot of human suffering that you deal with. And so this activity was designed for us to thank you for what you do. We get thanked every day for what we do. And we don't do it for the thanks, just like you don't do it for the thanks. But we know that it's good to thank folks who do good work. And that's what we did today. I hope you've all enjoyed this little respite from the storm that awaits us when we leave. But you should all know, and I know that you do, that when it's raining, the sun is also shining. We just can't see it because of the clouds and the rain. And the rain that's coming down is nurturing the seeds, making sure that we have some fruit next time. So thank y'all, ladies and gentlemen. Thank y'all for coming. And enjoy some more food also.
Hold on. Before you leave, one second. Josh, come up real quick. We want to get a picture take going that way. For all the honorees, hold your award up. Josh, come this way.